6 o'clock, call the meeting to order. If you'll stand and join me in the pledge, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, DB, put the flag up for me. People, they're pretty good at that. Only I asked them to move my own and they didn't.
Okay, Shirley, would you call the roll, please?
Cruz.
Here.
Malineski.
Here.
Ball. Here. Walker.
Here.
Scarra. Here. Williams.
Here.
Chinsky.
Here. Okay, on the meeting agenda for tonight, we have under communications and announcements, we have item A, June 2015 notice from the Manistee County Planning Department regarding an address change at Shingle Mill Lake. Item B is a letter dated 6/12/15 from Carl Krebs indicating his resignation from the Building and Grounds Committee. Item C is a letter dated 6/18 from Paul Bach of Paradigm Tax Group regarding Packaging Corporation's tax tribunal petition. I would like to, with consent, add item D, which you have in front of you, the letter from Sarah Alden concerning the Adamski property with a court date on that. So if you'll make note of that as item D, like I said, you do have that letter under your nameplate. Under department and committee reports, item A is the Water Department monthly report from Wade Trim. Item B is the Fire Department report. Item C, Lynn's report to the Office of the Zoning Administrator. Item D is the Planning Commission. Item E is Building and Grounds. Item F, Elections Committee. Item G is the PEG Committee. Item H is the DDA minutes and report. And item I is the sewer project report. Under new business, we have item A, consideration of approval of the purchase of a 48-inch by 36-inch outdoor bulletin board from Jack Pine at a cost of $469 for the display of public notices at the rec center due to the closure of the Filer City Post Office. Item B is review and discussion of a proposed mode of delivery agreement from the U.S. Postal Service due to the closure of the Filer City Post Office. Item C is consideration of approval of a presented resolution to set an alternate date for the July Board of Review. Item D is consideration of approval of the presented Dixon Engineering and Inspection Services contract agreement for water storage tank, 200,000 gallon spheroid, number 22-50-60-01, in the amount of $3,500. With your consent, I would like to add item F to the new business, the consideration of contract proposal for garbage collection for Filer Township. So if you'll add that under item F. Is there any other additions to the agenda that you wish to make? If not, I would entertain a motion for approval of the meeting agenda.
The extension of the sewer agreement can be on new business for 90 days.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'm put that under new business. I was going to bring it up under a sewer project, but that's fine. Yeah, that'd probably be under new business item.
That was E and you said that.
I'm sorry, yes, you're right. I wrote F here and it should have been E, so that's why Ruth was giving me funny looks. I
was trying to see where.
I flunked first grade. I never got my ABCs. Yeah, item E will be contract for garbage collection consideration, and item F then will be consideration of a recommendation from the DDA to extend consideration for discussion regarding sewer contracts to reach a point of execution. So we'll add that as item F under new business then.
I see that, so I know what I'm calling it.
Sure. This one here. Thank you, Tom. Anything else to add to the agenda? Nothing further? Then I would entertain a motion for approval of the...
I so move that we do that.
Second.
Motion by Cruz, second by Kolineski to approve the meeting agenda for tonight. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Under consent agenda tonight, we have item A, the minutes of the regular board meeting held June 2nd, 2015. Item B is the financial report. Item C is approval of the township general fund expenditures, including the fire department. It includes checks numbered 32495 through 32594. Accounts payable total $83,060.11. Payroll totals $13,886.11 for a total of $96,946.11. And then under electronic payments, we have $4,347.79 for a grand total of $101,293.90. Item D is approval of water department expenditure checks numbered 2133 through 2144, totaling $19,183.06. Any additions or deletions to the consent agenda? If not, I would entertain a motion for approval.
I'll second it.
Motion by Hachinsky, second by Skira to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, anything that you wish to bring up and discuss under communications and announcements? Okay, then let's move right into public comment. Public comment? Anyone have anything tonight? Okay, hearing none, we will move into department and committee reports. You have in your packet the Wade Trim report. And again, it is the shortened version. I did ask Mike to talk with Pat Gallagher about getting the 4 or 5 page report that you requested that we were getting before, and he was going to discuss that with him, and I assumed that he had, and either he did not or Pat doesn't want to make that report, so I can call Pat or email him and find out.
Well, I don't know if it's necessary, but I just wondered why the change.
Well, there was one of those pages that I would like to see that gives more of a breakdown by month.
Okay.
I'll talk to him about that. Fire department, Ron?
In June, we had 26 emergency calls, 25 of those were medical. One was a vehicle fire. We put in a total of 163 hours on emergency calls and 54 hours on training. As of June 24th, our total number of calls for the year were 171. We finished our repairs on engine 123. We had a broken exhaust pipe. Manistee Ford replaced that with a new piece of pipe, welded it in. So that's complete. We have some gauges that we're going to replace because the oil is slowly drained out of them since we purchased the truck. They're still operable, but we're ordering those from Darley, the manufacturer, and as soon as we get those, we'll install those ourselves. We had a failure of our rescue truck on the way to an emergency call on US 31 near the Bungalow Inn. The fuel pump went out, which caused the engine to stop. Assistant Chief Espavic stopped and we loaded equipment into his vehicle, and he continued, took one of our EMTs with him, and they went to the emergency call, met with the ambulance there. We had the truck towed to Manistee Ford where they replaced the fuel pump. We're having the station at one time we were a training site for the state of Michigan for EMS classes. We let that lapse and we're reestablishing that. The Manistee County Firefighters Association is going to start sponsoring medical classes, and we'll probably do one of those a year. It'll be held, the initial one will be held at our station, and we're going to maintain that so that we can do CEUs for our department there. And what that does is by having that, we'll be able to ensure that we have more personnel trained in EMS, and the cost is going to be substantially lower. Right now, an EMR class, emergency medical responder class, is going for about $650. By all of the townships, fire departments banding together, if you notice, we pay $1,000 a year for training to the Firefighters Association. We're going to be able to do that class for about $250 instead of $650. So it's going to save the townships fire departments a lot of money. Mr. Chris Cody, one of our most recent applicants at the department, has resigned. He completed his college and was looking for an EMS job around here. He couldn't find one, so he ended up with Life EMS, and their openings that they had were in Grand Rapids. So he has taken a job in Grand Rapids, so he has left the department. We have 3 applicants in the department. 2 of those, Denise Clues, she is a fully trained EMT, currently employed at the casino. She lives in the city. We would like to add her to the department as an EMT. And Heather Skipsky has applied as an EMR, wants to take the EMR class in September. She's really excited about being able to come back in the department. So we'd also like to add her to the department. And we also have Aspen Hayner, who is John Hayner's granddaughter. We would like to have her just as a cadet. We do not pay cadets, and they are not active on the fire scene. The most they can do is they could come to the scene, but they would remain with the chief to take notes or do any administrative stuff that he needs. They're not allowed to participate whatsoever in firefighting or getting equipment or anything like that. They are strictly there to observe. And then they also do help around the station doing truck checks, cleanup, whatever we do on our Monday night meeting nights. So we would like to add her as a cadet in the department. And she has turned 16 this year, so that as far as the state of Michigan goes, she is the age group that's allowed to be a cadet as well. So I guess we would like to add Denise Clues to the department if the board will approve that.
Ron, how many EMTs will that give you then on the department?
I believe that will give us, between EMTs and EMRs, that will probably give us somewhere around 10 or 11. I didn't count them up. I can look at that and give that to you after the meeting if you...
And again, what's the difference? What differentiates EMT and EMR?
An EMT, we run a basic EMT rescue unit, so we're required to have an EMT on each call that we go on. They're required to have 2 medical people on the calls. We have to have at least 1 EMT, and then the other person can either be another EMT, paramedic, or an emergency medical responder. The EMT is more highly trained. There has to be an EMT before our medical unit can go out. EMRs can still go to the scene, but they cannot drive our truck to the scene. It's just we run a basic unit as that, we run a basic drug bag in our truck, and so that's why you're required to have an EMT in the truck with that.
What does that do for our overall numbers?
I did not go back and count them up. It's like 10 or 11 for total number of personnel.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe it's like 25 or 26.
Ron, when you're called to the clinic out here on 31, are you there just to assist an ambulance or so?
Our calls, we get our job as first responders to get there and begin medical care. Typically, we get there and we have the vital signs done and have determined the priority of the patient prior to the ambulance get there. When they arrive, we advise them whether what we found, whether it's a high priority patient, and then they take over the patient care from there, and then they do their IVs and the stuff that they do.
Even with a doctor present at the clinic?
Yes. Typically, when we go into the room at the clinic, there's not a doctor present. They usually have a nurse there. The doctor's, if he started care, then the nurse will takes over. And there's not. We go in there, we take their information that they have. We do another set of vital signs and get that for the ambulance so that the patient's ready to be transported when the ambulance gets there.
I'll make the motion to go ahead and hire her support.
Now, is this motion only for Denise at this point?
I'm sorry?
If the motion is only for Denise, or are we also asking to put Heather on and ask the...
However your procedure allows you to do.
Let's do separate motions
Okay.
on that.
Let's do 2
So we have a motion from Cruz, second by Hachinsky, to add Denise Cluse as an EMT to our fire department. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now we'll entertain a motion for appointment of Aspen Hayner.
Heather Skipsey first, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, we don't need to, she hasn't received training yet. She's going to be trained first. Heather Skipsky, right?
Heather is not trained as of yet. She
So
will be
we're not looking to appoint her tonight. She's going to get that training first.
She needs to be. She cannot take the class until she's a member of a department.
Until she's a member. Okay.
So
then
what are we
need.
appointing her as tonight? Just firefighter or
She's
something?
as a firefighter because she'll become a
was a firefighter.
EMR afterwards.
I'll make the motion for Heather.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Kolonowski, second by Skira to appoint Heather Skipsky as a firefighter to the department, who will then look to receive the emergency medical responder training in the future. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
I'll make the motion that we appoint Aspen Hayner as a cadet.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Hachinsky, second by Cruz to appoint Aspen Hayner to the fire department as a cadet. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ron.
Oh, there was one other thing. So I've had some people ask about the parade because we did not have a unit in the parade. I put in the request to be in the parade. And I never received an entry form back from the Chamber of Commerce. That's why we were not in the parade. I don't know, I'm going to get a hold of them and find out what the deal was, because everyone else was in the parade, and I've talked to a couple other ones who did get returned, so I don't know if ours just didn't get misplaced, or I'm not sure. So, but I am going to find out about that. So it can be
Yeah, let me know when you find out, Ron, because I had a number of people ask me too why we didn't have someone in.
Right, and so I don't know what happened there, but I'll find out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, item C on the agenda is the report from the Office of Zoning Administrator. And you can see there's quite a bit of activity in the month of June. Any discussion or concerns with Lynn's report?
Looks like she's really been busy.
Yes. Planning Commission, item D, you have the minutes in your packet. Shirley, is there anything you want to add?
No,
To
there
that?
were two meetings during the month of June, so we have 2 sets of minutes. Nothing else to add.
Okay. Item E is the Building and Grounds Committee. Ed, is there anything you want to add to that report?
Not really, we got quite a few things done, but like always, there's more to be done. But we're working on it. We need to do something with some of the equipment at the rec center. It's old, and it's slow.
Yeah.
That's about the biggest thing right now.
Okay, and we did, the well was completed, the hand pump out at Lagoon.
Yeah.
Ed Benson got that taken care of before the 4th for us, so that is working. I went out and checked it out, and it is pumping water again, so that's a good thing. Item G is, item F is the Elections Committee. Shirley, anything you want to add to that?
Well, I think that's on there just because we're always in election mode lately. We did have a meeting the other day, hired the inspectors for August the 4th, but the minutes aren't in the packet yet because that meeting actually just was held yesterday. So a good time to say our meeting next month won't be held on the first Tuesday, but the first Thursday instead, due to that August 4th election.
So that's going to make it the 6th then. Okay, you have the DDA minutes in your packet. And minutes also of the Ad Hoc Sewer Committee. Any questions there? Anything you want to add to that? Dean?
The DDA has a, you want me to do the extension or just on?
Yeah, we'll hold off and do that under new business, I guess, since we
Well,
have.
basically, we were doing two-prong, looking at the tribal aspect and then the Manistee aspect for our new sewer system. So far, we're just getting it all together, and looks like everything is going good, and we'll have some further news.
Yeah, and item I, the sewer report, I was just going to mention that we did, in our last meeting with the city, they did agree to give us a daily average capacity of 125 gallons per day average at a tap-in fee of $400,000. They initially had proposed 50,000 gallons capacity for that 400,000 gallons. So we have made quite a bit of progress in the past month. We've met a number of times with the city, and like Dean indicated, we are still looking at figures that we just got from the tribe in terms of the rates following their rate study. So it's moving along pretty well. Moving pretty well. Under new business, item A, we have consideration of approval of the purchase of the outdoor bulletin board, 48-inch by 36-inch bulletin board from Jack Pine at a price of $469. This would be used to display our public notices. We've decided we'll probably display those at the rec center, since we do have to display those public notices at 3 different locations. Currently, they're displayed here at the hall and at the fire department. And of course, we were displaying them at the post office until they closed. So we need this enclosed bulletin board in order to be able to post in the 3rd location over at the rec center. So that's the reason that's on the agenda for tonight.
I know that the rec center would be a good place to put it. We don't have to ask permission. But we got several banks in the credit unions in the township that have a lot of business. If we could ask one of them if we could put it on their property so people would see it.
We can certainly explore that as an option. It probably, yeah, if legally we can do that, and if
it's a lot of them. And I mean, we're going to really use up a lot of their bulletin board space.
But if we put it on outside their premises, we'd pay.
Well, we'd have to.
We'll have to explore that with them, but it is a good thought in terms of the number of people that would see it there would be much greater than, that would see it at the rec center until people get used to the fact that it's posted there and they can go look at it. But
and I just threw that up. If we got another place,
yeah,
someplace to do it.
Yeah. I guess we can certainly talk to the credit union and see if they're willing to allow us to post there. But like Shirley said, these out here, the bulletin board that we're looking at purchasing is larger than these out here, because these out here won't hold the full sheets, and then they have to fold them over, and so.
So if we need a motion, I'll make a motion that we purchase it from Jack Pine.
And I'll second that motion. Discussion. And I guess, we can pursue it with the credit union, and if it is possible, post it even inside rather than outside. I think we'd still want this bulletin board, even if it were posted inside. I think we'd want that. But anyway, any discussion on that?
Where are you going to put it now? The rec center?
Well, we'll talk to the credit union and see if there's a possibility of putting one there. And
what credit union?
We won't buy this unless we absolutely need to have it. But at least we got the approval for it, if you say.
Well, what's wrong with
the credit union?
Members credit.
The FILER credit union is what I think Tom's talking about. The FILER credit union.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think Tom's point is just the amount of traffic there is so much greater. People seeing the postings. I don't know. Am I putting words in your mouth, Tom?
No. They're
what you were thinking.
All 3 of the banks and that, they all got people coming and going.
Yeah.
It'd be hard to pick which one
Really?
the most traffic, but I just think someplace else other than the rec hall, but that's all right.
about the fire department.
We're ready to
We
go to
already
do.
posted.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, we've got a motion to approve the purchase of this outdoor bulletin board from Jack Pine at a cost of $469. Shirley, do you want to do a roll call on that?
Cruz?
Yes.
Paul? Yes. Scarra?
Yes.
Lachinsky?
Yes.
Walker?
Yes.
Malinowski?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Okay, the next item on the agenda, I'm sorry.
No, he cleared his throat.
Oh, that's what he said. Item B on the, under new business is review and discussion of a proposed mode of delivery agreement from the United States Postal Service due to the closure of the Filer City Post Office. And I believe we have someone here from the post office. If you will introduce yourself and
My name is Dee from Dahlia, but Dee is fine, and I have to give you kudos. I've been to a lot of township meetings, and you guys really keep this moving along. I like that. I first of all have to reinforce to you that it's not a closure. I see that written a couple places in your minutes here. At this point right now, it is an emergency suspension. We have not, there has not been any decision made anywhere to close that post office, which is one of the reasons why that mode of delivery agreement is so important. I have used those, they're called central delivery boxes in many areas. They're easy to erect, easy to take down. Nobody has to change their address. Everybody has a locked box, and it's basically a P.O. box that's outside. They have parcel lockers attached, so if someone has a small parcel, they get a key in their box and they open the larger box and get their parcels out. I think that it would seriously help your elderly people not have to drive up to Manistee while they hash all these details out with the contract that they were trying to work out with George. The last thing I got this afternoon before I left, lawyers are still working. They need to make sure the building is going to be brought up to our standards. This is a suspension, not a closure. Please reinforce that. It is temporary. We can do what's best for the township, best for the customers. We still believe this is our best idea for now. Our biggest issue in the contract, which I have not seen the lease, I was not here when any of the problems that George has talked about happened. All I know is what's going on right now. That there are issues within the lease that George did not agree to, and then there are issues he brought up that our people did not agree to. Until that gets worked out, nothing else can be done. There's way more to closing the office than what we've gone through so far. There is a ton of legal steps. We cannot close the post office that quickly. This was an emergency suspension that we felt we had to do for the situation we were put in. And I think after seeing many different kinds of delivery initiated, and I'm from Grand Rapids, I've worked in Muskegon, I've worked in Lansing area, I've worked in Greenville, I've worked in some larger cities and a lot of smaller cities. And I believe personally, looking out for the customer, which is what my job is first, that those CBUs are the best way to do it. They can be put up in 2 days, they can be torn down and cleared out, and the ground can be covered and you'll never know they were there. We use them in big cities. We use them in Muskegon Heights temporarily when we had some issues where we could not safely allow our carriers to deliver certain areas. And we've used them in very wealthy areas. So it's not, they're very well accepted in most all neighborhoods.
okay, are you open for some questions?
Sure, go ahead.
Because I did a little research. I'm wondering, first of all, why, if this was a temporary suspension, as you termed it, why was everything torn out of the post office? I mean, I went down and looked in the window the other day, and there's nothing there. And from what I understand, when they took everything out, the counter, the large aluminum sliding door, the post office boxes, the desk, everything, I understand they're even going to take the front door. until George went out and said, wait a minute, there was a front door on this when you started leasing it, and so they left the front door. If it was temporary, why would you go to the time and expense of hauling everything out if it's only temporary and maybe it's going to reopen?
All of that stuff is sitting in a trailer in Traverse City, the half that's not in my office in the back room with everyone tripping over it. It can be reinstalled in 24 hours. I have seen that happen.
It just seems like some unnecessary...
I don't disagree with that at all.
Well, and that, you know, that's part of my concern, Dee, as I expressed to you on the phone, it appears to me as there was no real plan in place by the U.S. Post Office Service to deal with this.
We didn't expect to have to deal with it. We really didn't.
Well, about 2 years ago, there was talk about closing the post office, and there was a public hearing held over at Stronach Township, and people had an opportunity to voice their concerns, to ask questions, to express themselves, and as a result of that, the post office was not closed. The hours were diminished, but the post office was kept open. And you know, as far as these units that you're talking about, you know, I've got some real concerns with those, you know, like vandalism, an elderly person getting their mail or something. Some people get checks in the mail of one sort or another. Many people are getting prescription drugs through the mail. Delivery of packages, you know, those are all things that, you know, I'm wondering what the answer to that is. And I've got some real concerns about, you know, safety and liability issues. Another one is snow removal. When we get a storm, Filer City is one of the last places that gets opened up, where the roads get opened up, and how people are going to be able to get to these boxes because the streets are not plowed, the side streets, that's a real problem. And I understand that, what's the name of the Riverhaven Park out on 55. I understand that these units were put in out there, and there was a real issue this past winter with boxes freezing up, snow removal, people not being able to get to the boxes, and I understand now there's possibly a roof going to be put over those to address that problem. And so, you know, these are just...
I'm not familiar with that, so I'm not sure.
Well,
but all I can tell you is that from my own experience, that I worked with them, I delivered to them. The old metal ones were a little hard to handle. Our joke used to be we carried a rubber mallet in our LLVs to beat them into submission. The newer ones, I don't see that. They have a lip that extends out both sides over the front of the boxes. Yeah,
well, the ones out at Riverhaven, I don't think have been there that long, that they should be antique boxes of any sort.
I can tell you in Muskegon where I left, there's probably 1,200 sets of them. And Muskegon gets 10 feet or more of snow a season.
We don't get what we get. Another question I have is the box rent. You know, many people have already paid their box rents. How do you plan to reimburse that if, you know, if one of these plans doesn't go through?
They will get money back for closures. That's
okay. Those are questions I have, and I guess, you know, and I've had people come to my office and very upset about the whole issue, and they're elderly.
I've had a lot of them downtown too.
They don't want to have to drive into town to pick up their mail. I don't blame them, and there are some people that don't drive that have to make arrangements for somebody to take them into town to get their mail. It just has not been a good thing.
I'm not disagreeing with you at all. Believe you me, it was not what I wanted to come into my first week at a new job. It was supposed to be my nice quiet job up north so I could ease into retirement. The only answers I can give you are the ones I know about on the CBUs. As far as what's going to happen in the long run, I can't, because I don't know.
Yeah, and I think there's some legal issues with those that, in terms of the process that needs to occur, and Richard can talk about that.
Well, I just had a couple of questions. The mode of delivery agreement that I have in my packet says you're looking at 56 deliveries of 3 CBU Type 3s. Is that 168 boxes or is that 56 boxes?
3 number 3s would actually be 48 boxes because there's 16 in
That must be that new math.
16 in one of them. 3 times 6 is 48. 3 times 16 is 48. There are boxes that are owned or rented by people in Filer City who do not live in Filer City.
Okay.
And most of them have come to me and decided to make other arrangements.
So if the township could find a way to accommodate this, do you have some idea of the total square footage that these units, when all installed, would?
I believe that I gave you the foundation.
Right, and there would be
3 of those foundations, which I guess is 48 inches. So 48 inches times 3.
Okay, so just 3 foundations would have all 48 boxes?
Each 48 square piece of concrete would have 1 box. So it would be 3 48-inch square boxes.
And the boxes each contain 16 mailboxes?
And they stand about this tall. And they have horizontal
4x4 boxes?
Well, actually, they have 8 and 8, or 4 and 12 with the parcel locker. They're not exactly 4x4 squares. The cement slab is 4x4.
Right, yeah, I got the slab part. I'm trying to
The
figure
box
out what's going on
itself
top of
is, and I should have brought it, I just assumed people knew what they were. I'm terribly sorry. I should have brought a picture of
I've
them.
never seen one, so
And I didn't bring a picture. They're about this tall, about this wide.
okay.
And we have a key that the Postal Service is the only one that can open them with. And then on the other side are slots that the customer can open with their key, just like a post office box. They're virtually indestructible. In Muskegon Heights, which I don't know if any of you are familiar with that area, it's a very unrestful area right now. I actually had some boys take crowbars to them and beat them up, and they could not get into them. They're pretty tough little critters.
Okay. So we would be looking at something like maybe 12 or 15 feet by 4 feet total ground space?
Correct.
The township board doesn't have any authority to grant permits such as this. This is something that you're going to need to go to either the planning commission or starting with Lynn Couillers, the zoning administrator, because this is a land use issue. Okay. So, I mean, we can discuss this here, but you've got to go through the permitting process if you're going to get someplace with this. And now the township board, its role would be what areas of the township property it might consider temporarily leasing to the post office, for example, for space such as this, consenting to them putting something on township property somewhere. That's a discussion that we haven't had. But the actual okey-dokey officially that you're going to need to start digging the dirt and pouring concrete and so on has to come either from the zoning administrator or from the planning commission. Is there someplace else in the township or on township property that the township board would consider
short-term rental of, I mean, is there space at the rec center? Is there space here under the water tower? The parking lot right next door? If the park that you're talking about is not an ideal spot, and it sounds like maybe it's not, is there some other spot in the township that...
Well, I guess from my perspective, you're talking about a temporary thing until they get
Details worked out of what's going on.
the issues resolved with George.
Right, and I spoke to George's attorney yesterday afternoon about this, and I'll report to you that he's told me basically what Dee said, and that is that they've had some issues, and they're just basically negotiating the final terms of a lease.
Okay.
So he thought it was going well, couldn't give me a time frame as to when those discussions or negotiations might be completed. But everybody is still talking civilly, apparently, and are moving, as best they can towards some agreement. So there's not been a breakdown of communication between the existing landlord and the Postal Service. But if the concern is that the park where they want to put this is not a good spot, I just throw out the question, is there some other spot that might be preferable?
Dee, does it need to be in Filer City within that zip code, or could it be out of Filer City?
Our thought was to keep it down the hill for the people that are down the hill.
Okay,
That is
are you
half their...
Willing to go elsewhere?
Where
up
were
here
you
in this
thinking?
area?
That I would have to run through my boss. That would change the entire pay structure of someone's pay. There's a difference between the way the rural carrier gets paid and the city carrier gets paid, and the Filer City down there is serviced by a rural carrier. This is all serviced by city carriers, which we have to make an application for an extension of a route, get that verified through our district, which is going to take 3 to 4 weeks.
And this is a different zip up in this area too. I don't know if that...
Yeah, but it sounds like
It
it's,
should be Filer City.
yeah, it
Yeah,
sounds like it's right down there.
The places that we...
For the residents, I would prefer it down there, but my big concern is that this be temporary. They want that post office open because, if they have business to take care of, if they have packages they want to mail or something like that, they can do it there. They don't have the inconvenience of having to run into town to do that, which, by the way, parking isn't great down there, but it's not a whole lot better in the city. And the city is so much busier. When I went in to get my mail on Friday, I had to wait in line for about 10 minutes just to pick up my mail. And so
Nobody wants to open more than I do, trust me. It is creating more headaches for me than you can even begin to imagine. Staffing-wise, and customer affairs themselves, it's not good at all, any way anyone looks at it. But
no, it's
as a short-term fix for these people not to have to drive up to town, this is the only thing I see that's going to work, and that is why I brought it to you. Hopefully things will get taken care of by Friday and we should know something.
Pardon me?
Hopefully things should get taken care of by Friday is what my boss is saying they're pushing the lawyers for. The worst part is the legal people and the lease people are all in North Carolina and they do not share with us. It's between George's attorney and those people.
Yeah,
and we don't hear anything.
Yeah, that's kind of what George alluded to me was the fact that he's dealing with somebody in, well, previously it was Connecticut, now it's North Carolina. And he thought he was going to be getting something this week, some information, and it'd be great if that could be resolved before the concrete goes in the ground.
In the ground.
But what he's saying, if it has to go before the planning commission, it's not an immediate fix anyway.
It's going to take, it's going to take some time.
Well, hopefully they'll straighten the lease out and we won't have to worry about it.
That's what I was hoping. I really, thought it was all taken care of, and then I was in Washington DC and got the text that, oh, guess what, we are going in and taking it out. So I wasn't even here when they did it.
So I guess at this point, unless we want to consider some other location other than the park down there.
Have you talked to anybody else down there? I mean, have you talked to Condu or PCA about?
Yeah, because they do a lot of business there.
We have not completed, we wanted to do this first thinking that in a public area was better for the customers themselves. Let's just say PCA, for whatever reason, you're there and they're trying to get their mail when the semis are coming in, and I don't know the businesses myself, so I can't, but some that could cause problems with pedestrians and general traffic.
Is there a space on the lumber company property? I kind of think this.
There's really not, I don't think, a good space there, and I'm not sure that they'd be in favor of it anyway.
No,
You get more customers to the lumber here.
Pardon me?
yeah, the triangle up here, but then that's, I'm just thinking lighting.
Oh, right over here, yeah. Yeah.
And that's well lit.
Temporary would be good where the old credit union office would be, was. Right on the main drag.
Where now?
The old credit union office, isn't that
Yeah, when the
Condu's
first credit
office?
union office.
Talking about down where Tandu's office is now?
It's a condo office now.
Well, you do want it well lit, that's for sure, and I don't know how well lit that.
There's people there 24
Playground.
hours a day.
Yeah. Well, that's another thought.
Pardon?
That's another thought.
Yeah, it's right on Me Street there.
It's right on Mead Street, right across from the post office. It's well lit, and there are people around there.
What is that?
The cogeneration plant right across the street, Tandu.
Okay.
TES cogeneration plant.
Yes.
It's right across the street from the post office. That might be another thought.
That's a good idea.
Because it's well lit, and
There's a parking lot there, isn't there?
there's a parking lot, yeah.
That's well lit.
You'd have to be at the mercy.
They got security guards and,
Right.
like any other plant would have.
You'd have to be at the mercy of them.
Filer City Station might be a place for, to put something like that, if they have to put temporary, the old Filer City Station.
Yeah,
Clean people.
Oh, you're talking about the old gas station?
Oh, okay.
that's right. He's
That's
got
all.
it.
The old gas station.
There's a few places.
Well, no matter where it is, it starts with a land use permit.
Yeah, it's got to go to the planning commission to the zoning administrator first.
Right.
Yes.
So Lynn will be back from vacation tomorrow.
Okay.
So I would suppose maybe you're going to want to pay her a visit.
Today's
And
Tuesday,
she'll give you a land use form, and you can talk to her about that.
Tomorrow's
And
Wednesday.
in the meantime, find out, how long of a lease you would want. And if it's Tandu, for instance, they would be the ones having to make the application, would they not?
Well, either that or authorize the post office to do it, yeah.
All right.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Dee.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item B is review and discussion of just did that. Item C is consideration of approval of presented resolution to set an alternate date for the July Board of Review. And the resolution gives a reason on there why we need to pass this resolution, basically to change the date of the Board of Review meeting. So any questions or discussion on that?
That's the only thing you can do.
Looking at the old one, sorry.
Do you need a motion?
Yes.
Yes, we need a motion.
You want to make the motion? or-
Yeah, I'll make the motion that you use the alternative date.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Hitchinski, second by Cruz to approve the presented resolution to set the alternate date for the July Board of Review. And that will be the 22nd of July. Any discussion? Okay, Shirley, would you call the roll, please?
Hitchinski?
Yes.
Kalineski?
Yes.
Cruz?
Yes.
Walker?
Yes.
Scarra?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Ball? Yes.
Okay, item D you have in your packet is a copy of the Dixon Engineering and Inspection Service Contract Agreement for this water storage tank here at the hall in the amount of $3,500. They will, if you've read that, they'll do 5 inspections of the work done by USG on the painting, and the main concern is the interior wet painting, blasting and painting, which they are currently doing. I believe they have 14 pallets of sand there. They've gone through something like 5 or 6 pallets, Mike told me, as of this morning. And so Dixon Engineering will do inspections at various steps along the way to make sure that everything is meeting the specifications to protect our investment with USG, the contract that we've signed with USG. And USG's man that's in charge here right now, foreman of the crew, whatever, Mike is his name, he has been in contact with Dixon Engineering's person out of Gaylord by the name of Eric, and so they've started setting those inspections up already.
I was going to say, Terry, I've reviewed the contract. I don't have any concerns about the contract other than the fact that there's kind of a one escape hatch, and that is it's important for us to make sure that ESG and Dixon are on the same page when it comes to the inspection dates, because if Dixon shows up and ESG for whatever reason is not working that day, we're going to get charged time and materials for the wasted trip over and above the $3,500.
Yeah, they're, and Mike has coordinated that
they're
between.
All coordinated, and yeah, we should be fine.
And they, in fact, he texted me this morning that Mike had contacted Eric and set up the first inspection, and that was taking place. Because I had some concerns of leaving it in USG's hands to contact the Dixon engineer to do the inspection, and I expressed that to Mike, and I said, would you call Eric today and make sure? And when he texted me back, and he said Mike had already called him and set up the inspection, so that's working out well so far. So, any questions or further discussion on that?
Well, we talked about that before. We wanted to make sure that we're getting our money's worth, and I think we have to do it.
Yeah.
So I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion by Cruz, second by Scarra to approve the presented contract from Dixon Engineering and Inspection Services to do the inspections on this water storage tank, the 200,000 gallon tank here at the hall in the amount of $3,500. Any further discussion?
The other thing, once you've gone through this, if everything is kosher, then you can look at it different ways after that.
Yeah. Well, and we're looking at Red Apple Road tank for next summer, so, yeah. Anything else? Okay, Shirley, would you call for the vote, please?
Walker?
Yes.
Cruz?
Yes.
Kalineski?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Scarra?
Yes.
Hitchinski?
Yes.
Ball? Yes.
Okay, motion passed. Item E is the contract for garbage collection services, and I'm not real sure how you want to deal with this. I've got two bids here, one from Republic Services and one from Waste Reduction Systems, LLC. Two sealed bids. One concern that I have is looking at our previous contract, which was rather lengthy and addresses a lot of issues. I think we each need time to take time to read both these contracts over and make sure that that everything is addressed that we've had addressed in our previous contracts, that we want addressed and taken care of. And I don't feel that that's something we can just do on the spot here, unless if you would like, I can open those bids and we can do that. But my thought is we maybe need to take a look at those, study them, and make sure that we know what we're voting on before we vote on one of these contracts, and probably have Richard take a look at them as well.
Are there supposed to be contracts in the bids, Terry? Because I know for the past few years, we just sort of renewed the Republic agreement with some updates on the number of stops and so on, and they offered various things.
Yeah, both gentlemen are here. I doubt that there's contracts in here. Contracts have to be drawn up because these are not, they're not thick enough to be a 8, 9, 10-page contract that we currently have. So I'm assuming these are just bids for the service, but again, that service has to be spelled out. So what, I guess, what's your preference? What would you like to do?
Well, you got a good plan, Terry. Really. But wait and see what it's like.
Have a special meeting, look at the bids, but we're going to have to have a contract to look at,
right?
So that we know what we're getting for that bid. We need to know that. So I guess.
Well, I kind of like the contract that we have right now in terms of what its scope and so on. I don't know if there's been issues operationally that have come up, but in terms of legalities,
yeah, the format is.
The format of the agreement seems to meet our needs.
So it would be a matter of plugging in their numbers to that contract format.
Now, I don't know, I mean, I presume, since Republic is on the other side of that contract and has been for a number of years, I presume that they're happy with it as well, or they would have let us know. I don't know if Waste Production has even seen it, to tell you the truth.
You've seen the contract, you know what, we've talked about the number of pickup spots.
So you've seen our current contract? Okay.
So
I would like to see you guys open them up now so we see where we're at.
Okay. Todd, you got any? Okay. Everybody on the board okay with that?
Yeah, you don't have to accept it tonight.
Right. Okay, and this is a bid from Waste Reduction Systems. And it speaks to waste hauling of 3 30-gallon bags of household trash per week per residence with a 30-pound weight limit per bag, and 1 bulky item per month as defined under the current contract. Compost containers, 3 30-yard roll-offs, on-call, yard waste only, which is what we currently have. Extra charge for sorting and disposing of contamination. The Magoon Creek 2-yard dumpster that we have out there, again, it would be an on-call. No demolition/construction materials. The container can be upsized. Price would be adjusted accordingly. So for these, year one of the waste hauling, we have a bid of $97,500 per year, which is $8,125 per month. Year two is $99,750 per year, which works out to $8,312.50 per month. Year three, $102,300 per year, which is $8,525 per month. The compost containers would be $100 per dump per container. The Magoon Creek dumpster would be $25 per dump. And then there's an additional item here for curbside recycling available if we chose to have that at a cost of $32,500 per year. There's a note at the bottom, fuel surcharge may apply if diesel fuel exceeds $4.50 per gallon. So, we're going to give you that. And this bid is from Republic Services. Okay. Basically stating that letters thanking us for allowing them to partner with us to provide residents with reliable waste collection, and so on and so forth, and get down to the nitty-gritty. We at Republic believe it's important to be a partner with our customers and do our best to ensure we're providing the services residents need and expect. Working with FILER Township, we were able to implement the bulky item collection program several years ago, which helped to eliminate the annual cost of the spring cleanup. They are proposing a 3-year extension to the current contract with mutually agreed upon modifications if necessary. The proposed rate would be $8,246.25 per month. An annual escalator of 2.5% would apply on the anniversary date of the contract. So I am assuming this $8,246.25 per month is for what's spelled out in the current agreement?
Correct.
Okay. And I don't remember now how that compares. And the 2.5% escalator we would have to figure, so it sounds like we've got a couple of pretty competitive bids. To me.
Okay, so $8,246 per month this year. Next year it would be an additional 2.5% over that.
Correct.
And then the third year, another 2.5% over the second year.
Right.
Okay. So what would you like to do as a board? Do you want to make a decision tonight? Do you want to look at this and do some figuring? I know Leon's bid spells out the cost each year. I'd have to do some figuring quickly. I see Richard's got his calculator out.
Richard, what is 2.5% over $8,246?
Is it $8,246 even?
No, 25 cents.
And how much?
25 cents.
That's what I think. Okay. Well, that comes out to $98,955 per first year. And if I'm looking at what I have on my computer back at the office, and if I'm reading what I think I'm reading correctly, you're currently paying over $9,000 a month.
Right.
Right.
So that's a reduction in their price. But anyway, the first year would be $98,955 total, 2.5%. Next year would be $101,428.87.5. Maybe call it 88. That's 101,428.88. And then in the third year, you are looking at 103,964 and change.
Yeah, it's a little bit, the public would be a little bit more. What is this? What is $120 per dump per container? Is that an additional charge?
That's a great
That's for the
For the leaf
For the
box.
leaf,
leaf
okay.
dumpsters.
All right, so that has
For the leaf
nothing to do with the
dumpsters, yeah.
monthly or the weekly pickup.
Yeah. And Todd, yours does not speak to the leaf dumpsters, and I know under the current contract, we pay a separate amount for that, for each call.
I don't think that's included in the contract.
No, there's nothing about leaf dumpsters in the current contract.
That's something we did sideline, same with the lagoon container.
Okay, so I guess, so then this bid for $8,246.25 per month, the first year, does that include the leaf dumpsters?
No.
That would be
Leaf
extra?
Dumpsters are extra.
Okay,
They stand alone,
Yeah.
as they do today.
okay. Okay. What does the board want to do?
How much time we got, Terry?
The contract is up.
The contract is up, but we have some money coming back from diesel fuel savings.
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at this again. All right, so first, let's just go on the thousands. The first year with waste reduction is $97,500.
Read that figure over.
$97,500 per year. Republic is
98,925.
955.
Oh, I'm sorry, 955, 98,955.
Okay,
Yes.
the second year for waste reduction would be $99,750. And 2.5%.
That was 101,400.
Do you want that number again?
Yes, please.
8246.25 times 12 times 1.025. 101,428.
Okay, and while you're at it, do another 2.5% over that 101,428.
That's the 103,964.
103,964. And the third year for waste reduction is $102,300.
102,300.
Yes,
102 what?
300. So the difference on the first year is about
About
$1,300.
$1,400, yeah, 13
The
something.
second year is about the same,
2,300.
2,300.
No, I'm sorry, nope, yeah, it's about the same,
250, yeah.
about 17.
And the third
1600.
year is about 1,600 difference.
Yep,
That's very little money to change somebody that knows a route. And we get good service out. We get no complaints.
Last year.
yeah, I would tend to agree with that. We've had no complaints, and
I can't see.
That's it. Feel it out in Braille, he has to.
you're brave. So what would the board like to do? You've got the figures in front of you, you can make a decision tonight. Eddie, what do you think?
I think we ought to wait, look at this a little bit more in detail.
Tom, what's your thoughts?
I kind of agree. I'd like to sit down and look at it.
Ruth, you ain't talking.
Yeah, well,
Speak your mind.
I think we should stay where we're at. We have a fairly decent contract, the savings isn't up that great. Either way, then we gotta look over a whole new outfit coming in.
that's kind of where I'm thinking too, is just because it's so close.
You know,
Just stay with what we know, what we
you know what you
have.
got, Dale?
I'm fine either way, really. I don't.
And I think you expressed how you feel, Shirley. Yeah, I know. I know we haven't had any complaints. I know that the guys that drive the trucks from Republic, I see them oftentimes going above and beyond the contract. And it says 3 bags. I've seen people leaving 4 or 5, sometimes 6 bags out when they pick it up. So they've been good. They've been very, very good. They haven't any complaints. Another aspect that nobody's mentioned, but I think it's an important one, is that we have some FILER residents that work for Republic that are on the trucks, running the trucks. So you know, that's another thought. I know in talking with Leon, they've been in business for 30 years. So he does the city of Scottsville, does Manistee Township. I did speak a little bit briefly with Denny Berquist, about the kind of job they do for him there, and he said he wasn't aware of any problems. Obviously, they wouldn't be in business for 30 years if they didn't do the job. But there's not a significant difference really in those costs. But I guess at this point I'd be open to a motion either to table this and call a special meeting to make a decision, or a motion to approve one of these bids. And that would be, excuse me, if we make a motion to approve one of these bids, I think that would be providing, that Richard looks at the current contract and we make sure everything is spelled out the same in agreement either way we go. Sorry, I interrupted you.
I'll make a motion, we stay where we're at.
Can I say something first?
Yeah, let's wait till we get a second on the motion, and then I'll open it up for discussion. So, Dean, you're making a motion to stay with Republic Services, right? Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion by Cruz, second by Skira to accept the bid of Republic Services. We'll open up for discussion. Leon, I'll let you speak.
I would just like to say that on a leaf box, we're at $100, and I think you're paying $180 now, so that'll be a savings too. And it's not like Allied's going to be losing money by not doing it, because we're still taking the waste to them. They'll be making, plenty of money on that.
Yep, I hear you.
And, we've been in business for 30 years. Our guys, they do a good job, and we take extra, and we're careful.
Sure.
We'd really like to do it. We've spent a lot of time
Appreciate
calculating,
that.
driving around, and looking, and
Yeah,
putting a bid together.
sure. I appreciate that.
And that's what we do. I mean, we're a waste hauling, recycling business, and we need more.
Yeah. And I didn't mention that Waste Reduction does the hauling for the county on the recycling.
Yes,
Correct.
Yep, the county recycling program. And it's not a big savings, but you know, it's the savings is the savings.
Yeah. Anything else, Leon, or your wife? No? Todd, you want to speak?
Just as I said in the letter, I appreciate the opportunity. Personally, I'd like to thank you for the years allowing us to provide the service. It's been over 30 years, and I spent a lot of time on the truck as a teenager, youngster, and adult, providing service on these streets. So, long-standing relationship, and take a lot of pride in what the guys do. And as Terry mentioned, we have 7 employees who live within Filer Township, 5 who live within a quarter mile of where we're sitting today. You know, and they provide a tax base, a revenue source for Filer Township, and they're raising their families here. So I think that's important to consider. As it relates to service, Robert and Ben do an exceptional job, I believe, and I've heard a lot of stuff. You know, had a daughter graduate this year, and I heard a lot of comments from folks that attended the graduation about the extra mile that they go. I know Robert does a lot for Mr. Bathrick after his accident. He takes the cans up. A lot of elderly folks, he does the same thing. So, you know, the service is, I think, solid, and Robert takes pride in the fact that he's a resident of Filer Township. So I just wanted to point that out. And then as far as equipment, we run late model trucks. We replace our fleet. We have a schedule to replace the fleet. It's newer equipment with rear and side view cameras for safety for the general public, so that we can see around the truck when we collect, which I think is important. I mean, as I mentioned in the letter, safety is our top priority before anything else. I think we've proven to be reliable, and most of all, you know, we're committed to the community. I think we've done a lot within the community to help residents in the community, and we plan to continue to do so. And I understand that you guys have a job to do, and there's a little bit of a spread there, but I hope the years of service and the dedication from the employees who live in Filer Township will be taken into consideration. And as far as the leaf box go, that's separate from this particular contract, and that's something we can negotiate. You know, we did that offline outside of the contract to start, and I mean, we're open to negotiate on those as well. Any questions for me? I appreciate the time.
Okay. Thank you. Any further discussion from the board or questions of either gentleman? Okay. Shirley, you want to do a roll call? And the motion we are voting on right now is to accept the bid from Republic Services in the amounts stated.
But it's the same contract?
Same format with new numbers. It'll be the same contract with new numbers.
Same items in the contract.
Are you ready? Ready?
Everybody ready?
Ready? Ball, yes. Kuczynski,
Yes.
Scara,
Yes.
Cruz,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Kalinowski,
Yes.
Okay, motion carried. And I want to thank both parties for being here tonight and for taking the time to put in bids for us. We appreciate it. I think the process definitely benefited the township. We got the numbers down, so I guess that's a good thing. Moving on, we have let's see. Yes. Where did I put that? Okay, we need to look at a recommendation from the DDA, which met today, and they approved an extension, a 90-day extension to work on the sewer contract. Basically to bring that to the point of execution of the contract. We're getting real close. We need to just hammer out a few more items, but then turn it loose and have the attorneys work out the language and the engineers to get the language in there. And so obviously we made passed a motion at our May board meeting to put a deadline of 60 days on those discussions, and we're at that 60-day limit today, and so we're not there yet, but talking with our engineer, Brian Sousa, he felt that it could definitely be achieved within 90 days and probably less, but DDA felt like, they didn't want to have to come back and do another extension, so let's make it 90 days. So they are recommending that this board extend the discussion phase for another 90 days to hammer out a contract for a sewer agreement. So are there any questions on that, or is somebody ready to make a motion?
I think we should just do the 90 days and try to finish it up way before that. Well, I'll make the motion.
Okay, motion by Cruz, second by Kolonowski to extend the 60-day limit on contract discussions and negotiations for sewer for Filer Township to a 90-day limit to bring that to hopefully a point of execution at that.
So it's really a 30-day extension?
No, it's a
Another
90-day extension. No, 90-day extension, yeah.
No, wait a minute, an additional 90 days?
Yes,
Okay.
an additional 90 days, an extension of another 90 days. Okay. Dean, you made the motion. Okay. So we have a motion to that effect by Cruz, a second by Hitchinski. Is there any further discussion on that or questions? Okay. You want to do a roll call, or should we just do a voice vote?
Whatever you'd like.
No, let's do a voice vote. Okay with that. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Public comment. Any other public comment?
I would like to tell you that the 4th of July parade is online on our website. It will be manistee.tv.org, and it will be playing on the television station starting this Thursday.
Okay.
Terry, how about Adamski? Steve Adamski?
That's under the,
yeah, we took care of that. Yeah.
We started the eviction process. When Ken Hilliard went to serve the papers, he said it didn't appear that anybody was there, but from what I understand, when you went to visit, there was somebody there?
I had talked to...
You called him, right, Dean?
Paul Medronowski, I talked through him, because Adamski wouldn't want to talk to me, so. And then when they got through talking, I found out what he thought of me, so I said, okay.
Not so pleasant terms.
Well, Our intent is, you know, is to evict whoever may still be claiming some sort of possessory interest in that property. And we may just end up having to post a notice on the front door or something if we can't find anybody actually living there. But we'll go through and get a district court judgment that says, you know.
I heard there's not any keys to it at all.
No one deed?
It's wide open, there's no keys.
We shouldn't leave that building. Well, do we own it?
It can't be any worse. Yeah, we own it.
Well, you own it, but the question is somebody else living in it?
Yeah, he's not living there. I've got that on good. But then again, you know, I don't know.
Do we know, you know, is there stuff inside?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see, that's what is of concern to lawyers, is that if there are personal possessions still in the property, that's an indication that somebody is still intending to come back at some point and claim that stuff, or claim that, you know, they have the right to live there.
Should we contact the sheriff and get a deputy or a couple of us go there and go in it?
He has a right to get everything out of there that he wants, personal belongings. Right?
Yes, and once we get the court order, we'll have the right to go dump the stuff out into a dumpster and have the public haul it away.
Just on the first pickup of the month, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna work.
One big
item.
It's called a house. Bring your own wheels. Yeah, that's what we have to do.
You can't sell that, or you can't do any, all of it's got to go.
No, and we can't go in and we can't change the locks, and, you know, we can't turn off the electricity. Is it okay?
It's all off.
It's already off.
But we can't.
Until we get them out of there, right? Yeah, it's a violation of the law. If somebody else is potentially living there, it's a violation of Michigan law to go change the locks on, okay, without a court order, so.
We can't even open the door.
So that's what we're proceeding to get. That was what Sarah's email was. You know, that's a quick process. We'll get it done.
Well, we can't go in there till...
It sounds to me like whether you get in there tomorrow or whether you get in there in the middle of August isn't going to make a whole lot of difference.
I don't think...
No.
You'd rather go in on a cold day than on a day.
Okay, anything else? Oh, I forgot public comment?
Yeah, don't forget
Well,
that.
Keith was talking during public.
Oh, yeah, already has public comment. Thank you.
Keith was public comment.
Keith with public comment.
Okay. Anything else to come before the board? Dean?
No, I don't think so. You know.
Dale?
The only thing I have is we are still looking for PEG members, young and old, or young or old, whatever we can get. We didn't mention that earlier, but...
Reporters are welcome to be on PEG too.
Anything else?
Professionals.
Did everyone notice the new format for the financial report?
Yeah, I was going to comment.
I noticed that.
Looks nice.
Yeah, it's all computerized now, and then there's more detail,
Yeah,
so.
looks better.
And I think it's easy to read. Yeah.
How's it working out? Good?
Good, good. It's the first month, but it's looking good. All I have to do is just go in and change the figures every month.
Ed, anything else?
Right.
Good to the cause?
You got anything else for us?
Nope. Tom? Nope. Then I will declare this meeting adjourned.